Alright, so I'm in my bathroom. That way it doesn't echo so much. So the story is where basically, I forget what this alludes to, but my history professor, Mr. Wedding, he told a story about where this guy, he is told these people are in this cave and they're chained, or they're inside this cave, and they think they see the sun. And the sun, they don't see the sun directly, but they see the effects of the sun. So, for example, they see like sunlight shining on a wall. Okay, so let's say that they're over here and they see sunlight shining on a wall over here. So they see the sunlight over there and they're like, okay, these are effects of it. So therefore, what's on wall is the sun. Well, then one day, one of the guys or one of the people inside the cave, they end up venturing out of the cave. And so they leave the cave and they see what the sun actually looks like. So then he goes ahead and he ends up going back inside the cave and he tries to tell everyone else, but hey, like this isn't the real sun, like come outside and you'll see the real sun. But unfortunately, like nobody really believes him. And so the only way that a person can really, getting stuff off my phone, can really believe him that, hey, the sun that you see on the wall here, it's not real. It's basically the effects of the sun. You just see the sunlight, and the only way to actually see the sun is to go outside. And so what helped me understand it was comparing it to Christianity. And so like, for example, people may see the effects of Christianity, what Christianity is actually supposed to be like, not like the Crusades and such like that. It was good because it kept the world from becoming just a Muslim world all around, so it still allowed that kind of freedom. Um, but in regards to, like, I don't know, destroying people just needlessly or like stealing needlessly from others, that part I can see is wrong. And then also with the kids who ended up crossing, and I think like a couple thousand ended up dying for the Crusades. It's like that's kind of wrong. So, but yeah, all of like in that regards, like I think of it as Christianity, where someone can become a Christian and then like come back and tell others, hey, this is what Christianity, or this is what Christ is like, this is what God is like, and people don't believe it unless like they walk out of the cave. So, but yeah, that's the story that Mr. Wedding told, and it helps me, or at least whenever he told that story, I'm like, I get it. Well, he explained it like in that regards, and then looking back on it now, I'm like, okay, I can compare it to Christianity, and it's kind of like I get it. So yeah. Also, I just want to clarify, like in regards to what I said yesterday, I understand what part I had in I I guess pushing you away. I'm not sure exactly, like I haven't fully talked with you about it, so I don't know. I From your point of view, I'm not sure 100% if I had anything to do with it. So in that regards, like I understand from what I can tell how I may have influenced stuff, so that kind of pushed you away. And so in that regards, like I'm sorry, and I'll definitely try from now on to ask more questions, even though I'm not sure if that'll help or not. But I know just knowing everything, or as much as possible, like especially what my friend said, like basically like a guy will move to a place when he's ready, or when he's considered, like when he's serious about relationship or about the girl. And so in that regards, like looking back on it, I'm like, I get it now. And so I pushed a little too much, I think. So yeah, and then also with the deadline thing and such. So now I understand a bit more. So yeah, I'll still be here, but I was wondering, and I know I've asked this in the past. Let me know if there's anything that I can do, and so I'll try to do it, or at least try to understand what you're talking about. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I'll still be here. And yeah, let me, just in general, let me know if there's anything you want to talk about in addition to what I've already talked about. I think you asked the question, what would I do if I had a large sum of money? And so that basically broke it down. Or like I basically explained what I would do. And I mentioned about depends if I have all the money is because like let's say I was making a decent amount of money. I would want to like put back a certain amount. And in my sister's case, like I don't have access to any of her funds, and the my parents are paying on my sister's student loans. I'm paying strictly mine. Um, and that's because they're thankfully providing housing, so it definitely helps me a lot. So, um, but yeah, in this case, like, where was I going with this? Paying off student loans. Yeah, so in this case, I would just want to be like, here's all the money that you need, and I think it's like $50,000-$60,000 in order to pay off her student loans. And so, but I'm not sure if I'll ever get a chance to do that. And so that's why I was like, I want to go ahead and set up a college fund for my sister's kids, and she has two right now. And then that way, from what I understand, if you put down like $1,000 each year toward student loans, or not student loans, but toward like a something, bonds, stocks, whatever, that if you put that down by the time they're like 18, if you start at year zero, by the time they're 18, you'll basically have like maybe $100,000 saved up. So what I was thinking about doing possibly is like doing four accounts, like one for each of my sister's kids, and then one for my sister and one for her husband. And so that way, like after a period of so many years, that way, like even if they have the majority of their student loans paid off, once those student loans are paid off, like I can give them whatever after like 18 years or so. I can go ahead and take that money and give it to them, or like give it to my parents who can go ahead and pay off their student loans. And then from there, my sister and brother in law can go ahead and take that money and put it towards a house, for example, or put it towards whatever that they need. Because right now they're living in an apartment, last time I heard. So that way they can go ahead and put it towards stuff that they actually need, stuff that they possibly want, and so that way it'll take care of stuff and hopefully establish them a little bit, just in terms of like house or security. They can put it to our house, they can go ahead and pay however long for their apartment or whatever. So that way it helps them out a bit. Um, Itchy. So yeah, it helps them out quite a bit. Um, but yeah, those are my dreams, goals. Pay college, which I'll probably end up taking out more student loans, or I'm thinking about grants and such. So, oh, Yellowstone. Okay, so I almost forgot about this. I looked online and I was looking through my friend, the website that my friend recommended, where she applied for a job. And basically, I looked and there are no jobs left for Yellowstone. And I'm guessing that's because, like, there's a high volume of people putting applications in. And so, what I need to do, ooh, itchiness, yes. Um, because I don't know if it's just one company that provides workers or if it's multiple companies that provides the workers depending upon what they need. So like one company may provide like housekeepers, another company may provide like the park rangers, another company may provide like the tour guides and such. So I don't, like some companies will actually do that. I'm not sure if you are familiar with that, but depending upon the company, they'll go ahead and provide like certain services, um, for like a business, in this case, national parks. So, yeah, in that regards, like I won't be able to go, not that I know of. So I need to go ahead and call them ASAP and find out more information. So I just want to give you a heads up that more than likely, as of right now, I won't be going to Yellowstone National Park, but hopefully next year. So I'm not too anxious or worried simply because Yellowstone, it's been there for the past at least 100 years. And so the only thing that will keep me from going is like if my friend decides not to go or something. So I definitely want to go with someone from Mississippi or someone that I'm like, okay, you're cool or whatever. Um, so yeah, I just want to give you a heads up on that. What else? I've been watching Star Trek, The Next Generation. I found the original to be very, excuse me as I fall asleep. But I like the storyline. It's just very, very slow, just overall. Like it's not an action show, it's more of a story show. So not quite my forte, not what I'm used to. So hopefully I can go ahead and um, I took a break from Star Trek Original. I'm only on season one, and I am going to take a break from that, watch Star Trek The Next Generation or whatever other Star Trek series out there, and then eventually go back to Star Trek the original. Maybe like flip flop, go one episode Star Trek Original, another episode Voyager, or The Next Generation, or something similar to that, just so that I'm like, okay, I'm staying awake, basically. So yeah. Um, I think that's it for right now. Um, oh, no, no, there is one more thing. I know I mentioned about just in order for me to like be like, yeah, it's definitely a relationship, or it's like, yeah, this is a relationship for us to be added. Basically on Facebook, more likely Instagram, and all those other websites. So my question is, basically, in my thing, uh, I'm still definitely interested in you. It's just that my thing is that I want to one day marry someone who is a Christian. So um, how did you want to do that? And yeah, I was wondering, are there any questions that you have about Christianity or anything that you want to know? Or is it just what's holding you back type deal? So, uh, yeah. And so I am curious about that. I'm wondering about that. And I mention that because, um, and not just saying like, hey, I'm a Christian, but like actually trying to live it out. And because I know that there's some people out there who are like, yeah, I'm a Christian, and then I look at their lives or like their choices that they're currently making, and I'm like, I wish you would just say that you're not a Christian and be like, sorry, noise out there. I would just be like, say, I wish you would just say you're not a Christian, and then that way, like, whenever you have questions or whatever, you go ahead, like, I can answer questions, or like, I can maybe talk about God. I don't know. So yeah, when a person is comfortable talking about God. And versus, yeah, I would much prefer someone actually be honest with themselves and honest with others and just be like, no, I'm not a Christian. Um, and then for if they do decide to become a Christian, for them to like read the Bible, pray, like actively try to obey, or actively try within the best of their abilities to follow God and like obey His word and attend church if at all possible. So, yeah, and I say if at all possible because I know the quarantine is pretty much where it's like, no, we can't go to church or anywhere else, not to stores, not to general doctors, not to eye doctors, not to the library, nowhere. No. So, yeah, that's why I ask about that, or like that's why I mentioned about that. So yeah, but yeah, I also if you decide like whether to continue, I wanted to give you a heads up before you added me and then you found out and then you're like, ah, man, like, and then instantly regretted it. But I wanted to just sort of try my best to show my cards instead of you being blindsided. So definitely like still yeah, so if you still want to add me, I will be ecstatic and more than happy. But if you're like, okay, this changes things, so no, then I understand and I won't hold it against you. And there's no pressure either way, whether to add me or not add me. And I will just remind myself constantly to go with the flow. And yeah, so thankfully I have books that I can read and my jobs are opening up. So if you're like, well, she has these expectations, that's another thing, if, in case you're worried, is that she has these expectations or something. Um, in my case, like, I have other things to kind of uh, distract me, I guess, and like keep me focused on other things so I'm not worried or frantic or anything like that, or upset, or yeah, I definitely won't be angry because I definitely want it to be your choice of which way you want to go with this. So if you decide to have me, but it's like, okay, I'm not ready to be in a relationship, I understand. If you're like, okay, not in a relationship, not Ed, I understand. But if you're like, you know what, I still want to pursue this and still add and such, um, then yeah, that'll be cool. But I just want to give you a heads up. If you're like, okay, I can't see myself ever being a Christian, then yeah, I don't. I don't want to waste your time. So of or mine or either one. Yeah. But again, I'll still be here. So yeah. Anyways, this is already 17 minutes long, so I will talk to you later. Bye.